Hey, what's going on, folks? This is Kelvin Pham for VidNail TV. Welcome to another webcast of the VidNail Group, folks. Today we have special guest Jaime Schrabeck, of course, our lovely sister, nail sister, who's going to be giving us an update for 2 weeks ago on the rally that she took to Sacramento. She was on for like a couple minutes and then disappeared on us, all right? But she's back today to give us a recap of what went on that day, and also to discuss, folks, what are we discussing about today? Of course, the outdoor situation. The saga continues, folks. The struggle is real. Many salon owners are defying, protesting by going indoors. There were also, like I said, a rally, and again, Jaime will tell us a little bit more about that.
So there's these outdoor challenges, and I know that you were 2 weeks ago when we had you on for a short period. You were up in Sacramento to hold a rally to allow us to open inside and be safer inside. So update us on what happened with the rally, kind of how many folks were there, who'd you talk to, any elected officials, what you accomplished, and kind of what's the takeaway from that Sacramento rally?
Well, I needed to get out of the house, which is why I attended the rally. My car hadn't gotten that distance in quite some time. And I want to make it clear, that was not my rally. That rally was organized by an individual stylist. Her name is Alicia Orabella, and she has started a movement called Pro Beauty Inside. So whenever you see that hashtag Pro Beauty Inside, that's Alicia's movement. And what she was trying to promote in holding that rally was to advocate for us getting back indoors and making the case that we're much safer indoors. And mind you, this was before the storms and the fires started. So the timing has been quite interesting. The rally itself was about 2 hours long. It was warm there. We had quite the turnout. There were hundreds of people there. And there were some electeds that were mingling around. They were working in the building, but I would want to call out Senator Bob Archuleta, because he made an effort to introduce himself and to actually help us out by carrying some things. So there were a number of speakers that spoke from the Capitol steps, and I think it went over well. The reception to it was quite positive, and that was the intent, was to hold a positive rally.
In previous weeks, we had talked about the challenges being the heat, the impracticality of just physically moving, furniture, electricity, and so forth outside. And then I had a segment where we talked about the liabilities and the risk from a legal perspective. Mm-hmm. And now another component that was just added to all this within the last week are now the California wildfires. Where you are you experiencing challenges from the fires?
We are. We have 3 active fires here: the River Fire, the Carmel Fire, and the Dolan Fire. And the air quality has been horrendous, as you might imagine. And we typically have some of the best air quality in the entire country in my area. But it's been really bad. I feel horrible, not just for those of us who are living here, but I feel much worse because I think the focus should be on the fact that there are farm workers laboring in our fields picking produce who have to do this under these conditions.
Right. No, definitely. Our hats off to those who are working outside to, keep us fed and food on the table. So we definitely want to give a shout out and thanks to those folks. I know they're facing a lot of the heat and the ash and just all the challenges going on.
Well, we were hearing even before the weekend started that there was going to be a renewed focus on evaluating guidance for our industry. So that was happening behind the scenes. So that would involve the governor's office, the California Department of Public Health, and I'm sure the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology and Cal OSHA are involved in those discussions as well. So there seemed to be this big push to get information in front of those agencies to demonstrate what it was that we were doing and were capable of doing before we were told that we could no longer work inside. And with Governor Newsom's announcement yesterday, we do expect new guidance to come out, but here's the kicker. What we don't know is if that guidance is only going to apply to counties that are already off the monitoring list and have been off for a particular number of days. We're not sure what the guidance is going to say, and then what the restrictions on it will be in terms of when can we actually implement this.
Right, right. Now, are you in contact with people who may be a part of that decision-making process, or even providing information to the governor's office as to, you know, what's good, what's bad? Because I mean, I'm hearing from you that there are, you know, discussions going on and an announcement will be made. But is there anything we, the public, can do to kind of usher in this information, give him the right information?
I think most of the effort has already been made. I don't doubt that they've received wonderful information from various organizations and from individuals, and it's filtered up through local county offices. It's been directed directly to the state. It's been channeled through the Professional Beauty Association. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that information has gotten to those that are in charge. Now it's just a matter to see, you know, what's that going to eventually look like. I'm hoping that it's going to be much more concise than it was before, because a 10-page long guideline that includes requirements and suggestions sort of all mingled together is not direct enough, even when it's written in English, to get the point across, when we know that we have to be able to read it, understand it, we need to be able to translate it and share it and apply it. And I'm hoping that it comes through in a much more concise and direct format.
First of all, you know, it's good. I'm happy for the Orange County just get off the watch list for the last 2 days. Today is the third day, and yesterday they did not report any loss due to the COVID-19. So that's the good news for OC. We have to go into the right direction for another 14 days after tomorrow. So we're talking about 2 more weeks, a little over 2 more weeks, for the thing to be go back into the normal. Just cross the finger to say that. Yesterday I was watching a little of his speech. He asking about the air purifier for the Salon industrial. So I was wonder, you know, if some of the guideline, and I'm waiting for the guideline from his office or this California Health Department go out, so we can take a look at it and see what we can comply on that one. But so far, I going around the area, around my home area, I saw there be a lot of tanks, you know. They cover like about two or three sides of the tanks. So that's why a couple of days ago I put in the requirement of the health department, say, you know, no more than one side cover, so to let the air go through. So that's why, you know, I still see a lot of people, even the guidance right there reading in English there, but you know, a lot of people, they did not understand quite clear about the tent, using the tent. And hopefully, you know, the guideline will be short and briefly, so the people can understand and comply.
But I think our best hope for getting reopened is that we are not categorized along with bars, indoor dining, and family entertainment activities. If we can be separated from that and considered as our own industry, I think we have a much better chance of getting ahead of whatever timeline the governor has in mind for reopening those segments of our economy. I think that was what tripped us up, is that we got caught up in different parts of our economy where we didn't have the same kinds of controls. We have control over what we do in our spaces. We have control over our clients. I mean, my clients came into my salon like not touching things as if they were a 4-year-old in a China store, right? Like that was, you know, how careful they needed to be instead of being a bull in a China shop, right? So that's what I think of when I think of people who are drinking, dining, you know, they're celebrating, whatever it is that they're doing that's so different from what we do with our clients one-on-one in our salon spaces. Let me just clarify something about this. The personal service permit is not a license. It's a permit that you get that is like an add-on to your license that allows you to work outside of a licensed establishment. It's fairly restrictive, and by fairly restrictive, it goes license type by license type and tells you just what services you're allowed to do. And this is how restricted it is for manicurists. This is all we can do as a licensed manicurist with a PSP permit. We can file and buff nails with non-electrical tools, and we can apply and remove nail polish. That's it.
Wow.
That's it. That's not, giving a pedicure. That's not doing cuticle work. That's not applying enhancements. That's not even applying tips, right? So that's what we're allowed to do with this personal service permit when it becomes regulation and they set in motion the process to be able to apply for it and actually receive it through the mail. Let me say there are two other restrictions, and that is you have to get a live scan. So if they're going to be doing a background check on you, you're going to be submitting your fingerprints.
Are you serious? Yep. Are you serious?
Yes. That's right there in the law. It's not the law yet, but that's what's required if this passes, which is something that we don't even have to do when we get our regular license, right? We're not submitting to get a live scan. And the other thing is we have to have liability insurance with the PSP.
And you have to pay a fee too, right?
What was that?
Do you have to pay a fee too, right? I just want to check.
Yeah, there'll be a fee. It'll be a minimal fee, but you've got to get past the live scan first, and also maintain this insurance, because the board realizes is that they're going to be sending people, essentially giving permission for people to go into people's homes, and there has to be some accountability for who you say you are when you go into somebody's house.
Just so that we're very clear to our viewers, they're not getting confused here. There's a separate section for the mobile unit. What is that?
So a mobile services, the way we think of mobile and what you're thinking of as a mobile unit is a salon on wheels.
Okay.
And that salon on wheels, there are very few of them actually licensed in the state, but if you see someone who might have converted like an Airstream trailer or something like that, that's like a mobile salon. It has to be a certain length, and it has specific requirements as to what it contains on the inside. And those regulations have been around for quite some time. It's just that that's sort of cost prohibitive in order to do that. And you'd have to have some place to take it.
Right. I know. I saw the regulations earlier. It requires that the mobile unit be at least 24 feet in length. And just give you I rented a 25-foot trailer recently to go up to Mammoth. That's a really long trailer, and if it's just a trailer, you need a pretty good-sized pickup truck to be pulling that thing. It's a no-joke kind of thing for anyone who's really thinking about it. So again, for our viewers, you are not allowed to go to somebody's house right now. There's no regulation. There's no set of rules that would require you to do that. That is still being considered by our government, and Jamie's got the site for you to give your opinions. And if you got a lot of money and you want to get a 24-foot mobile unit, go for it. We encourage it, but I don't know too many folks that can do that.
Nobody here wants to break the law, okay? But the other part of the question I asked you was this: we outdoors already. The people are following the law, are doing the services outdoors. However, based on the fires, based on what is happening right now, they can't even be outdoors because of the fire. So I know that will trigger that thought of like, man, I got to go back indoors. I'm just saying it's a natural course of thing to do. This is from an owners where they actually comply. Okay, we did it inside, they move us outside, I'm taken outside, and now we got this fire, and I still have to pay the rent, Mike. I still have to pay the rent. I'm trying to check and see, you guys see any mercies there, any, any compassion for the people?
Kevin, let me jump in on this one.
Yes, please.
I am not advocating for people to break the law. I definitely think there's a compliance element that we all do. We live under a country of laws, a society based upon laws. But I know that in my own legal practice, I have had people come to me, not just nail related, but for any industry, any business. Sometimes they've had to take actions or measures that are not necessarily compliant with whatever laws of their industry. Okay, and then they ask me to defend them, right? Whether
Yes.
it's a civil lawsuit, an administrative lawsuit, whatever form of process they're going through. The questions I always ask them first: have you exhausted all other available remedies before you did what you did? Right? And then we will go through a series of checklists. I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. I said, okay, now that you seemed like you exhausted every other possibility before you did what you did, what you actually did, was it reasonable and necessary to the performance of your job, your career, or whatever it is that you're having problems with right now, right? And a lot of times we're going through that next step analysis: reasonable and necessary. What is reasonable? What is necessary? There is no black and white standard. Well, that wasn't reasonable. It's a very gray. It's a very sliding scale type of things. I've talked to many of my clients, and after we've gone through that kind of that two-part analysis, they retain me to defend them, right? I'm not saying that my client did right, but there was a reason for what they did, when they did it, and why they did it, right? And so we go through that adjudication process, just like a civil trial, a lawsuit, right? We go through it, and then we put it before the judge. We put it before the jury to let them hear my client's rationale and basis for what they did, right? Sometimes the jury or the judge say, you know what, I'm not going to find you liable, right? Sometimes they do, right? It goes both ways, folks. It goes both ways. But what I want to do is address Kelvin's comments about, I've done everything I can. I'm about to lose my house. Kelvin, I'm going to do this, right? So what happens? Go through that analysis. Go through that analysis, because I have a feeling that if you're going to open up inside, right, and you do get fined and you do get cited, and there's a disciplinary hearing process going on, right? You're going to want to be able to explain why you did what you did. I mean, if you're saying, if you're, look, I'll be candid. If a client came to me and said, hey, you know what, Mike, there was a fire about 3 miles down from my salon. There was a lot of ash, there was a lot of smoke, and Lordy, it was hot. Not from the fire, it was just hot. I moved my client inside. I did have it outside. I did comply, but I moved it inside, and guess what, Mike? It's just a coincidence. When I moved it inside, I had an inspector come by. I had the police come by. Whoever it was, they cited me, right? I'm going to ask for that type of information to say, you know what? I mean, yeah, you did. Let's be honest. You broke the law. You broke the law, right? But tell me why. Tell me why. And if it's something that I think, you know what, present it to the board, present it to the judge, present it to whoever it is. Let's see what they think about it, right? That's just one aspect. Again, I am not condoning breaking the law. I tell folks, you got to comply. But I do understand there are circumstances when things happen.
Regardless of how I feel about the whole situation, including all the fires and the struggles, I have to agree with them. I have to agree with them, even though I don't like it, folks. But again, that's still, at the end of the day, it's still just our own choice, our own opinion. As you listen to Tongbu, you're gonna have to figure that out for yourself. And to be honest with you, we can only ask you or hope that you find the right choice or pick the right choice, because the choice you make, folks, will have an impact on the future of reopening indoors.